Wealth isn't always about luxury cars, designer clothes, or bank accounts overflowing with cash. For many, it's about quiet progress, a journey marked by thoughtful decisions and consistent habits. While some people make their financial achievements loud and public, others build wealth in silence, step by step, often without even realizing how far they've come. The signs of this quiet wealth building may not be obvious, but they reveal a mindset that sets the foundation for long-term financial success. One of the clearest indicators is the habit of tracking spending. Think about it. How many people truly know where their money goes each month? It's not about being miserly or tracking every dollar obsessively. It's about awareness. People quietly building wealth take the time to examine their expenses, often uncovering small leaks in their budget, like forgotten subscriptions, impulse buys on Amazon, or dining out more frequently than they realized. By identifying these patterns, they redirect those dollars towards saving or investing, creating a stronger financial foundation. Take Sarah, for instance. A young professional living in Chicago, she started tracking her spending after realizing she was living paycheck to paycheck. She discovered she was spending $300 a month on coffee runs and takeout lunches. By making her coffee at home and meal prepping, she saved over $3,600 in a year. That money didn't just sit in her bank account, it went straight into her Roth IRA, where it's now growing tax-free for her future. Small, consistent changes can lead to significant results. Another subtle sign of wealth building is the ability to say no. It's easy to give in to the temptation of splurging, whether it's an invitation to an expensive weekend trip to Miami or the latest iPhone upgrade. But people who quietly build wealth have the discipline to say no when those expenses don't align with their goals. This doesn't mean they never indulge. It means they're intentional. They might skip the Miami trip today to save for a dream vacation to Europe next year. Instead of upgrading to the newest phone every year, they hold on to their current device until it's necessary to replace it. Saying no isn't about depriving yourself, it's about making choices that reflect what truly matters to you. A third sign is the value placed on knowledge. People building wealth understand that education doesn't stop when school ends. Whether it's reading books like The Millionaire Next Door, attending financial planning workshops, or watching investment tutorials on YouTube, they constantly seek to grow their financial literacy. This knowledge becomes a tool for smarter decision-making, whether it's choosing the right 401k contributions, understanding index funds, or knowing when to refinance a mortgage. Take John, a teacher in Denver, who began reading about index funds and compound interest after hearing about them on a podcast. He started contributing $300 a month to an S&P 500 index fund. Over 20 years, that modest monthly contribution will grow to nearly $200,000, assuming a historical average annual return of 10%. Knowledge truly is power, and it's one of the best investments you can make. Interestingly, those building wealth often prioritize experiences over possessions. Instead of chasing the latest fashion trends or buying a new car every 3 years, they focus on creating memories and building skills. A family camping trip to Yellowstone or a weekend pottery class might bring more joy and cost far less than a designer handbag. Experiences like these not only enrich their lives but also help them avoid unnecessary debt. Consistency is another hallmark of wealth building. Saving and investing aren't about one-time windfalls, it's about small, steady contributions over time. Even if they start with just $50 or $100 a month, people building wealth make saving a habit. Automation helps. Setting up automatic transfers to a high-yield savings account or investment portfolio ensures that their money works for them before they even have a chance to spend it. Consider Maria, a graphic designer in New York. She started her career contributing just 5% of her salary to her 401k, barely enough to get her employer's match. But each year, she increased her contribution by 1%. A decade later, she's contributing 15% of her salary, and her retirement account is on track to reach 7 figures. It wasn't a big dramatic move, just consistent incremental progress. Debt reduction is another area where these individuals shine. They don't let debt weigh them down or spiral out of control. Instead, they tackle it head-on, prioritizing high-interest loans like credit cards. By paying down debt, they free up future income for saving, investing, or other opportunities. Take Chris, a recent college graduate with $30,000 in student loans. Instead of deferring payments or sticking to the minimum, he picked up a side gig driving for Uber on weekends. Every extra dollar went toward his loans, which he paid off 5 years early. Now, that money is going into his first home savings fund, accelerating his path to financial freedom. A long-term mindset is another defining trait. Those building wealth think years, even decades ahead. They're not chasing instant gratification, but are willing to make sacrifices today for a better tomorrow. Instead of splurging on a luxury car now, they save for a future where they can buy it outright, or decide they don't need it at all. Their social circles also reflect their goals. Surrounding themselves with financially responsible and growth-oriented people creates an environment that reinforces their habits. Whether it's discussing investment strategies or sharing money-saving tips, these conversations keep them motivated and informed. Another often overlooked sign is the presence of an emergency fund. Having 3 to 6 months of living expenses saved might not sound glamorous, but it's a financial game-changer. This fund acts as a safety net, protecting them from high-interest credit card debt when unexpected expenses arise. Whether it's a car repair, a medical bill, or a sudden job loss, they're prepared for the curveballs life throws their way. Daily expenses are another area where wealth builders stand out. They've reached a point where small purchases like a $5 coffee or a quick lunch at Chipotle don't cause stress. This isn't because they're careless, but because they've managed their budget so effectively that these minor costs are already accounted for. Perhaps the most significant sign is their understanding of time. Wealth builders know that time is a finite resource, often more valuable than money itself. They delegate tasks when it makes sense, whether it's hiring someone to handle home repairs or outsourcing part of their business operations. This allows them to focus on activities that align with their goals, or simply recharge, knowing that rest is as important as productivity. Wealth building isn't loud or flashy, it's a quiet process of disciplined choices and intentional actions. If you see yourself in these habits, take pride in knowing you're on the right path. Every thoughtful decision, every dollar saved or invested, and every small sacrifice brings you closer to a life of financial freedom and peace of mind. So, what steps will you take next? Will you track your spending, invest in knowledge, or say no to that impulse purchase? Remember, wealth is built one small decision at a time. Stick to the path, and your future self will thank you. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more strategies to help you on your financial journey. See you in the next one.